Hi everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live on Baylor University's official Facebook page. We're very glad that you could join us today. My name is Lori Fogleman. I'm with Dakota Farquhar-Caddell. He is the Associate Director of Student Activities here at Baylor and the Robert Reed Director of Baylor Chamber of Commerce. And why that is important is that students with Chamber are responsible for providing the gold standard of care for our Baylor Bear mascots, Joy and Lady. And they do that 365 days a year, no matter the weather, no matter any major holidays. They are taking care of the bears at their campus home, which is the Bill and Eva Williams Bear Habitat, and also at their off-site Enrichment facility. We will today talk about the news that our president, Dr. Linda Livingstone, shared with all of us, with the Baylor family yesterday, about Lady. Lady has been undergoing treatment for a benign mass called a thymoma, and that was found in her chest over the summer. The tumor was found early, and that's one of the important things we'll talk about. During a routine wellness examination with veterinarians at Texas A&M College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. Since that news was posted on social media yesterday, we've asked people to leave some Facebook questions in the comments, and we will be answering some of those questions, and also you're welcome to leave a question in the comment section below, and we'll do our very best to answer that as well. But Dakota, I think the biggest question today is just how is Lady doing today?
Yeah, so Lady had a great night of sleep, slept heavy and sound, and this morning she decided she wanted to hang out inside for another day. So like with Joy and Lady, no matter their care or their wellness, it's kind of always on their terms. And so today she just felt like she wanted to stay inside for a little bit. So she's still inside resting. We got cleared to give her some soft foods. And so some of our student caregivers gave her a buffet of soft, mushy foods today. And applesauce has been proving to be the thing that she is loving. So we're giving her all the applesauce she wants. She's drinking plenty of water and just resting up. So she's making a great recovery.
That's great. And when she woke up this morning and when you arrived at the bear habitat, there was a message already waiting for her.
We got taped on the bear habitat was a sweet card, and it has wishes and well wishes, get well soon, sick 'em bears, thinking of you and the caretakers. And so we are already getting just overwhelmed with the amount of messages and notes that people are sending our way to make sure we care for her.
Yeah, there have been so many wonderful well wishes from the Baylor family and others, and especially on social media. And one thing that we were asked a lot is how can we send a card, a get well card, or any wishes to Lady? And you can send get well cards soon, and we'll also include this address in the comments as well. But you can send that to Joy and Lady Bear, 1 Bear Place, 97185, Waco, Texas, 76798. And again,
their very own mailbox.
Yeah, and what you plan to do is you, just as you did when you received this card, you actually read those to Lady.
Yep. We think they like those. Sometimes we even put them up in their enclosure. We make sure to put them up on the other side of the mesh because they're not edible cards and they like to explore, but it's really fun and a good kind of token of appreciation for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. And we'll talk a lot about the bears, but let's get into the treatment, and let's talk about Lady's journey to get here. A lot of questions about the mass in her chest. Again, that was found during a regular wellness checkup. It's benign.
Yep.
That's important. So one of the questions was, is it causing any issues with her organs? And no, it isn't.
Nope.
It's not causing any issues with her heart or her lungs, and that's because early detection, really a key, because this kind of tumor, a thymoma, is asymptomatic, and they're usually not found until they're causing some major issues with breathing or with heart function. But in Lady's case, the mass was discovered early during a routine examination with veterinarians at A&M, and that really is the key, Dakota.
Yeah, it was excellent that we cut it early. Lady's a very active bear, so she loves to roam. She loves to get up on her hind legs and walk around and explore tall objects and dig through things. And so that's one of the keys that we took her in early, is that there was no way to tell this from the outside. And luckily for us, it is not causing any pain or any issues within her body right now. So she's still just as healthy as always.
And another question from Facebook was, how large is the tumor?
Yeah, so we estimate to be around 2 inches by 5 inches, which sound to me, when I first heard that, I felt like that's really sizable. The way it was described to us is it's kind of snuggled up close to the heart in her chest. But again, lucky for us, it would have to be about 2 to 3 times the size before it would cause Lady any uncomfortableness or problems. So now that we've caught it way early on, we've been able to manage it. It hasn't grown any since we found it, which is really positive.
Yeah, really is. So they've been keeping a very close eye on it, obviously, and no growth at all. But when you were deciding on a course of treatment for the bears, of course, Lady's quality of life was absolutely the first thing that everybody focused on. But let's talk about the innovative, non-invasive treatment that she is undergoing there at A&M. That is that tomotherapy. We've received several questions about that particular treatment, so tell us about that.
So tomotherapy is a really advanced form of radiation. I think there are about 2 systems in the country that are able to do this. So it's great that we're in so close proximity to one. So it's 2 in the country. It's a really advanced system to where it pinpoints exactly where the tumor is. This makes it so that she doesn't experience any negative side effects moving forward. So when she recovers, because of the type of preciseness that the lasers work with, the only recovery will be from anesthesia, which is not always the case when we're working with radiation.
Right, so that tomotherapy, it precisely targets tumors, but it spares the healthy tissue and it causes fewer side effects.
Very impressive.
Yeah, another question that we received from Facebook, if the mass is benign, then why treat it?
So as masses grow, that's when it becomes an issue. So going back to early identifying it early is the key. And now that we're able to manage the size, we hope for a lot more many years of happy health for her.
Yeah. So what's the next step? Where do you go from after Lady finished a course of three treatments over the past couple of weeks? Sure.
So as you can imagine, 3 treatments is exhausting. So that's why we're giving her the time and the space just to relax. Eat her applesauce, eat whatever else she wants. She might like some yogurt tonight, that was my guess. And we'll continue to give her a diet of soft foods over the next 3 to 4 days. And then we'll slowly introduce any omnivore chow or raw meat or vegetables. We'll introduce that slowly and see if she digests that well. And if she does not interested in hard foods, then we'll go back to soft foods. Expect, right now we think Lady is back at 80% energy, which is really exceptional after the treatment she received. So we expect that tomorrow morning she might be ready to go back outside and enjoy her yard again, but we'll just play it by ear.
Yeah, because we know how it feels when you finish a procedure.
Right.
It takes a couple of days.
It takes a little while to get the pep in your step back. So it's the same with Lady. She's just incrementally getting there, but it's looking really positive so far.
And then with follow-up veterinary care, what do you expect there?
Yeah, so in 90 days is our next benchmark, and that's where we're going to reevaluate the size of the tumor. We're going to understand what the radiation has really done, and then make our steps forward. So we'll wait out this next 3 months and see where to go from there.
Another question from Facebook, and these are some really good questions here. What effect is the treatment expected to have on Lady's capacity to return to being the Lady we know and love, and for how long? And what effect will this have on Joy's quality of life, her sister's quality of life?
I love that question because we got to think about Joy too. And Joy was thrilled when Lady got to come back yesterday because there are been only a handful of times in their lives where they spent the night away from each other. So it was great when Lady got back. Joy was thrilled to see her. As terms of the recovery for the Lady we know and love, I think by next week we will see her back and Adam and exploring just like she always does. And then for Joy, we are really lucky to have a healthy bear and Joy too. And so the next week, I think we should have both bears that are at 100%. Okay.
And I think we had another question too about what is the expected lifespan for bears like Joy and Lady?
Yeah, so in the field, they've already extended their life expectancy in the field due to predators or food sources or natural elements, things like that. But in long-term human care, we have the ability to extend that lifespan, and particularly because of the raw diet they receive, which is, we have students that count their calories each semester as part of a calorie count, a nutrition class. They count their calories. They help give us advice on what fruits and vegetables to use and how to space out the calories. They get weighed every 2 weeks to make sure they're prime weighing for their health and their age. And because of the exercise facility we have, on top of that, the world-class veterinary care, we're really looking that these bears will have a good number of years with us left. And the kind of average range is those low to mid-20s for bears that are in human care.
All right, so what do they eat? What do your Baylor Bear trainers feed the bears daily?
Sure, so they have a mix of Omni-Chow, which is formulated for omnivores like our bears, and they eat a lot of raw meat. So they love any sort of raw meat, fish, beef, pork, any of that. We limit the pork, but they love fish, they love salmon. And then they have a mix of vegetables, usually fruit in the morning, vegetables in the evening, and then in between, our students create different enrichment activities. So they might get some jelly in there. Grape jelly is their favorite. They love peanut butter. Sometimes we'll mix it up and they get a peanut butter and jelly treat. They love applesauce, yogurt, apricots. Maraschino cherries are kind of the really they're having a good day if they get some maraschino cherries. So if you think about any sort of produce, they like to eat it.
All right, and when you take them out to the enrichment facility, there's enrichment out there.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
why they take them out there for additional exercise and enrichment. But how things like apricots fit into that as well.
Yeah, we're really proud of our off-campus enrichment as well. We have a little more flexibility to dig a little deeper holes to bury things. We simulate their scent and sound, sense of scent and sound off the off-campus facility. Sometimes we hide apricots higher up in the trees, so they really have to think strategically about how to get the apricots or the prunes at different places. And the off-campus facility is a really fun time for them. We laugh because we take them out there once or twice a week, and you'd think they want to stay out there all day. After about an hour or so, they're ready to come back home. But they love it. It's kind of like when I take my kids out to the playground. They love it for a little while, and they're ready to go home. And so we scatter nuts out there, all sorts of fruits, hang things higher, bury things lower. We have culvers and different other areas for them to climb through. And so all of that is really good enrichment. I think I mentioned earlier, all their enrichment is goal-based enrichment. So sometimes we'll have them focus on prolonged focus. We'll work on vertical movement to help ward off arthritis, as aging bears do, and all sorts of things in between.
All right. Another question from Facebook. Will ladies still be able to visit Joy while she's being treated, or will they be separated all the time? So
our tomotherapy unit is in College Station. So when we take her to College Station, they are separated, but we always try to minimize that. And so the second they get back, they get a chance to see each other and reunite. And so we've always noticed if there's been times where they've had to stay away for a prolonged hours or days, they're really happy to get back together. So we minimize their time separated because like any sisters, most sisters, they really like to snuggle up and hang out together.
And Joy and Lady do. They
do.
When they're out in the Bill and Eva Williams bear habitat, they're out there with. A lot of times you'll find them just snuggled up together. Yeah. They are bears after all, and they do spend a significant amount of time in slumber.
They do. Yep, about 70% of their life actually is either sleeping or eating. So they have a pretty good kind of all-inclusive resort here on campus where they get to do that as they please.
All right, and we talked about how the bears are cared for on campus, from nutrition to enrichment, but also talk about their movement. We call it voluntary vet care, and those are some learned behaviors that are really important. Yeah,
so all of the things you see them do, sometimes if you've been by the habitat and some of our student trainers have been out there working with them, you might see them do a sick-em, or you might see them smile or stand up or shake their head. All of those things contribute to really voluntary vet care, which is the end result here. So the learned behaviors that they do when they sick them, it's really important to be able to have them move like we'd like them to move. We very rarely, if ever, sedate our animals, and so we keep them alert and conscious during all vet visits if possible. And so when the vet comes to check, annually, we have them move in certain directions, we have them walk certain places, we have them stand up, sit down, do sick-ems, smile. We've caught in some things with Joy before because of her big, beautiful smile. We're able to check the teeth in there. And it really goes all so far as to even injections. So when we vaccinate them or we need to give them some medications via syringe, it's really, really important to us that we're able to do that with no stress in a really calm environment for them. So they're trained, they come up next to the mesh, they put their hip right up there where we need it, and then we just give them the medicine they need. Usually we give them a little bit of peanut butter, but they do that in a stress-free voluntary environment.
All right. And the bear habitat we were talking about, where Joy and Lady live, is the most visited place on campus. I think 250,000 visitors a year and more than 5,000 children, and that's part of the educational mission of the Bear Program.
Yeah, we're really grateful for the way our community loves the habitat. Even on Christmas morning, while some of our students and we're out there scooping poop and giving them a Christmas feast, there are families that are coming through that, just driving down I-35 and want to stop and see the bears on Christmas Day. So, when all of campus is quiet, the bear habitat is active. And those two kind of cornerstones of our mission right now are education and conservation. So the chance to educate our community, and one of the unique things, about 75% of the visits and presentations we do each week are all strictly educational, which we're very proud of. And it's neat to see anywhere from grade school, elementary school, all the way up through elderly, finding ways to be educated by black bears. And it has a really beautiful thread through the Baylor family that no matter how old you are, where you're from, you can connect with the bears and learn a little bit more about creation. And the conservation element is also really important to us. So one of our biggest calls that we claim in the world is to care for God's creation well, and that's what we have the gift of doing with Joy and Lady. And so when we care for them well, that also means using their platform and the education we have to care for all bears around the state and the country well. So we have some conservation partners around Texas and up in Arizona that we're planning some trips with in the upcoming year, and we'll be able to lend some of our expertise because we're 100 years in the making with the Bear Program, so we have 100 years worth of expertise here to really create and connect with the community of black bears around the nation.
Right. Some more questions for you from Facebook. Are there plans to continue the Bear Program if something happens to Joy and Lady? And is there anything alumni can do to help with Lady? In Dakota, there's actually a long-term vision for the Bear Program, so tell us a little bit about that.
Those are all really very good questions. Many people may know that black bears are they're native to all continental states. And so all around the country, there are black bears that need homes. And we feel thankful and really grateful to have resources in an environment where we're able to offer state-of-the-art care, really a gold standard of care to black bears. So as long as we have the capacity to give the best care we can to these animals, and as long as there are bears that need homes, as long as that's a good match, we will be happy to care for the bears in our world. And the long-term vision for our Bear Program is that we continue to build our education and our conservation mission. And that's where we find kind of our most strongest niche in the local Waco, in Central Texas, and around the country, is that black bears around the country need advocates. They need people who are educated about them. They need people who care about them. And we're positioned to do that really well and really strongly.
All right. And if you want to find out more about the Baylor Bear Program, you can go to baylor.edu/bear. And, that's an opportunity for people to also be able to help in a really a specific way to be able to help the Bear Program.
Yep. So our Bear Program is funded out of endowment, and so all because of generous gifts. Many, many folks who love our bears and love the Bear Program give annually to help us sustain this program and make it really how excellent and make it thrive the way it does. And so, baylor.edu/bear is a great way to find out ways you can give to different projects we have going. Sometimes we'll throw up a fun toy that we're trying to fund, or different medical equipment that we need for their care. Any sort of way that you all can connect and give, we always put that on the website.
All right. Again, that is baylor.edu/bear. And we want to remind you can send cards and well wishes to Lady, care of the Baylor Bear Program. So you can send that to, the address again, Joy and Lady Bear, One Bear Place, 97185, Waco, Texas, 76798. And you read all of those messages to her.
We do. We went through all of the Facebook comments and tweets and Instagrams, and it's been very humbling and a beautiful, beautiful sign of the way our community cares about each other and cares about our bears.
And I think one thing that I know that you wanted to talk about, just on behalf of the students who work so closely and love our bears so deeply, just important for them to feel that love and support from the Baylor family.
It is. It's, Joy and Lady aren't our bears. They're everyone's bears. They're Baylor's bears, our whole community full of bears. And so I think to receive the words and support from all of you all to our student caregivers has really meant a lot. And really to the whole Baylor community. We have partners all across campus that work really hard to make sure we go about this the best way possible. And so this has been a journey for all of us. We're learning a lot along the way. We're really invested in it emotionally. We love Lady. And so this has been really beautiful to see the support we've gotten.
Yeah, and you feel that way too alongside the students. You were telling me that you have been associated with bears more than half of your life.
I got to be part of the Baylor Chamber when I was a student here and have known Joy and Lady since then. And I think when we were calculating it up, I realized it struck me about half of my life has involved Lady and Joy. So like many stories we've been hearing from our Baylor community, a lot of folks are really tied into these animals and care a lot about them.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dakota. It was very informative to hear about Lady's care, about Lady's prognosis, the outlook going forward, and we look forward to seeing Lady and Joy back in the yard soon at the Villanova Williams Bear Habitat, and also in 90 days that we get some additional good news about Lady. So thank you so much. And again, if you want to know more information about the Bears, the Bear Program at Baylor, or if you would like to find out more ways that you can help and support, it's baylor.edu/bear. And you can find the places or the address to write to Lady and Joy Bear that's in the comment section below. Well, we thank you so much for joining us for this Facebook Live. And as we would always say, sick 'em bears.